Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. Today is the 4th of August, 2023, and this is your Friday planning video. It's been another big week, and as we quickly dig deeper into this year, this is your first August planning video. It's hard to believe that we're nearing the end of the summer, and as we spoke about last week, school is just around the corner. This Friday video is called the planning video for just that reason. I like to bring you planning ideas and updates. If there are topics you're interested in hearing more about, please let me know. I'm happy to dig into some other items. In keeping with that, based on a recent suggested topic, thank you, Danielle, I wanted to broaden our definition of planning. So far, I've brought you thoughts on retirement planning, a lot, and although I do not give personal tax advice or legal advice, I've spoken about topics like estate planning, tax planning, education planning, and even some overall budgeting, savings, and regular investment planning. Today, I want to broaden out, as it was suggested to me, in what I'll call financial life planning. Overall, what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes is for those of you who, like me, are pile makers, if you will, maybe figuratively, maybe literally. I think many of you do this without thinking about it, and I want to talk to those of you who do not, and those of you who do this without thinking about paying and pay the price literally later. What I'm referring to, in addition to the life events that we just listed, there are a lot of other events, some big and some small. Most of them warrant some planning, though, and I'll only touch the surface on the list, but you'll get the picture. As I've been reporting, the student loan payments are about to start again. The school payments, if they took the summer off, they'll start again. Add in the higher cost of just about everything, and you get the exit door to the bank account that may need some renovation to expand it a little bit. Let's get to it. Planning is something that can be, and I might contend should be, done for the entirety of your cash flow. Some of this on a granular scale and some not. I've mentioned the idea of tracking your spending, and for those in small business or just the CFO of your own family, this is a great way to keep an eye on the spending and the saving. If you're tight on the income versus expenses, this is a necessity to make it through. If you're not as tight, this may be less important to you, but I would tell you it may not make or break the decision of meat or chicken for dinner, but it will matter when it comes to building your long-term wealth. So please note it is important for there also. As we come to the end of the summer, some of you have been doing some traveling, and based on the record TSA numbers, many of you have been traveling. When you plan that trip, most of you did some detailed work, and that's what I want to suggest, and use that as the analogy. I'll tie it together in a moment. If you're a planner, and I'll use this for the example, you chose your destination, checked the weather, figured out where to eat, where to stay, and maybe even some activities to keep you and the family entertained. The level of detail depends on the kind of trip, but suffice it to say, if you flew anywhere, you probably worried about and maybe even made some contingency plans for possible airline flight disruptions, a must these days. This is what I want to suggest we're doing in our day-to-day and month-to-month financial planning. Your planning list should not just include the education of kids in college. How about summer camp, childcare for the young children, private school tuition if you're in that camp, which I know many of you are. Add to that group the gap year overseas and travel to and from those places. Let's move from the why to the how on the saving side of the planning. What I want to suggest is that literally or figuratively, depending on what works for you, set aside money to cover your upcoming expenses. Let's stay on the travel topic, but insert here everything that you spend money on. As we come to the end of the summer here in Chicago, anyone who's been here for more than 9 months know that this weather is not what we're known for. The calendar turns quickly, and before we know it, it'll be October, and snow on Halloween is not beyond the imagination. So many of you are already thinking about how to escape the cold. Yes, some will move to warmer climates as the snowbirds, but most of you will not, and most of you will just plan a vacation and get away to somewhere to warm up. Here's how. Or here's one way how. Start saving that money now. I've talked about the monthly investments for building long-term wealth and retirement planning. Being a long game, this is no different. The time frame may be shorter, but the amount you'll need is also shorter. This can be done two ways, bottom up or top down. You can choose, and most likely your situation will choose for you. Let's start with the top down. All the buzz these days, cruise lines. I don't know about you, but I'm not sure why all of a sudden there is a news story daily about someone falling off a ship. Regardless, if you know that that's your plan, price it. All-inclusive, how are you going to get there? Any additional expenses? Then take that number and figure out how much you'll need to save weekly or monthly to have that money when you need it. This can be turned a bit on its head if you have to pay early, but same thing goes, just start a little earlier. Put this money in a high-yield savings account, not your checking account, and guard it carefully. If life happens and you need to break glass and get that money, just know that you either have to scrub the trip, delay the trip, or rebuild your savings more quickly. You get the picture. This is just discipline. Make a plan and stick with it like we do with your other financial plan. Make the plan, execute the plan, evaluate the plan, make adjustments when necessary. Finally, for today, let's go from the bottom up on this. If you're not sure what things will look like and not comfortable scheduling that cruise or other major trip expense, then instead decide that you want to do something, and it will depend on how things go. But don't just leave it to that. Be vigilant, hand-to-hand combat with your spending and cash flow. I mean, decide that you want to save whatever that amount is out of every check, and do it. Take that out first and move it to the high-yield savings account. First, like your monthly, move it there first, like your monthly retirement and other investment savings. The goal here is to train yourself that you don't need that money. This is where you set some goals to save. And if you succeed, you get the reward. This is we're going to Miami or we're going to the Wisconsin Dells. Both good locations, please, no hate mail about either, please. And then you can decide what the reward is and what that reward looks like. We've done it with our kids forever. Do this and earn that. Jobs do it all the time. So from the bottom up, save like a crazy person, and you'll be able to reward yourself. This is the idea behind one of my favorite quotes. Then I'll wrap up for the day. Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. This is the idea of savings. As a study last year by the beloved Federal Reserve, Americans under the age of 35 had an average of $11,200 in non-retirement savings. 35 to 44, $27,900. 45 to 54, $48,200, 55 to 64, $57,800. These are averages. Median numbers would scare you too much. Just to give you a taste of that, the median savings for an American 55 to 64 is just $6,400. Retirement at age 65? Not on that savings. I told you that savings and investing is a contact sport. It takes work, determination, and discipline. I'm happy to help you work on some plans for this. There are a lot of other ways to do it. Investing and building wealth for education and retirement and even healthcare expenses, that is all really important, but so is the smaller stuff. And as you know, it doesn't just happen on its own. You have to make it happen. Let's stay in touch on this and other planning items, and check out the website for these videos and monthly blogs and more. Have a great summer weekend, and come back on Monday for the Monday Market Update.